All right, entertainment marketing students, today we're going to be talking about market segmentation. Market segmentation helps us find our target customer. So there are three big reasons why we would want to target a specific audience. First, obviously, we want to make sure our marketing messages make sense to our customers. We also want to figure out the best places to put those marketing messages so we're getting in front of those customers. And then we want to make sure that we're utilizing the budget that we have in the most effective way. So if we are creating our product or making variations to the product, we know as much about the customer as we can, and we are trying to make sure that every message that we create or every product that we make is specific to those customers. Now this beauty here is a 1985 Honda Accord. Yes, that was that looked like my car. It wasn't the exact one, but I did have an 85 Honda Accord, complete with the spoiler on the back. It was pretty sweet. But you can imagine that the target audience for this car is going to be much different than the target audience for this car. Okay, that is a Lamborghini. That is a $4 million car. Clearly not something that I was driving around in high school, although that would have been pretty sweet. But we do know that we are going to have to target very different customers for those two types of cars. And that's kind of the point of what we're talking about today. So let's talk about target market. Target market is the group of people that is most likely to purchase the company's product or services. We say most likely because we aren't going to turn away business from people that aren't in our designated target market. However, we're not going to spend a whole lot of marketing dollars on people who are outside of this market. Okay, there's a couple approaches to market segmentation. The first is concentrated marketing. Essentially, you are picking one target audience, and based on that specific target audience, you have one marketing message for that audience. Another option is a multi-segment marketing, in which your company might have multiple target audiences, and the marketing messages to those are different from each. Okay? An example of that would be McDonald's. McDonald's has a target audience of adults, where they are targeting people who need something quick to eat on their lunch break. So they'll have commercials targeting at that. And then they're also targeting kids through the use of Ronald McDonald. So that would be a good example of a multi-segment marketing campaign. All right, so how do we market, or how do we segment? And what do we even mean by that? Segmenting a market simply means we are taking the whole and we are narrowing it down using specific criteria. We're narrowing down the number of people that we're going to try to get in front of. And here's kind of a list of all of the different ways that we can segment a market. The first is geographics. So if you have a product or service that is going to be used in a specific location, like a food truck, people generally are not going to drive hundreds of miles to go to your food truck or fly to see your food truck. So you are going to have to pick your target audience as people in the general area of that food truck. Furthermore, there are things like seasonal or climate type of things. So a snow shovel in Florida really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Some of them might be population-based or regional style. So when we talk about like population-based, we're talking about things that are more likely to be sold in cities maybe than in rural areas. And then in regional styles, we might be talking again about certain areas of the country like Texas. Stereotype is big cowboy hats. That might not necessarily go over so well or so popularly here in Iowa. Next is demographics, and demographics I like to say are the kind of the yes-no categories. You're either in that category or you're not. So things like age, gender, income, ethnicity, marital status. So some of these things are going to matter according to the product that you sell. Your age might matter. It may make a big difference what generation you come from, right? We know certain products are targeted towards certain genders or people who are gender neutral. We also have certain products that are targeted at different household incomes. You saw the two cars at the beginning of this. Sometimes people need to buy a Honda Accord, and then sometimes people feel the need to buy a Lamborghini, which would again be awesome. But household incomes play a huge role in that when we're targeting people for our products and services. Psychographics, one's a little tricky for some students. Psychographics are the activities that you like to do, sort of your interests, your hobbies, your personality, your values, those types of things. So, and when we talk about psychographics, one way that it was put to me from a marketing professor is like, if you had look around your bedroom, what kind of posters would you have on the wall? And so psychographics help us. For instance, if we're selling baseball tickets, we know we're going to try to target people who like baseball, for example. Behavioral is different buying patterns, people who want different benefits from the actual product itself. So we are going to look at, when we talk about behavioral, we're going to be talking about people who might have high usage rates of online shopping. We might see people who want the benefit of convenience. So we might be targeting those types of people based on the types of behaviors that they have when they are purchasing things. So again, we have 4 different segments that we can use. Primarily, we're using demographics, psychographics, and geographics. But behavioral can make a huge difference as well. So let's take a look at the difference between buyers, influencers, and decision makers. Okay, a buyer is a person that makes the actual purchase. Okay, so they're going to be the one that actually hands over the cash or runs the credit card when the purchase is being made. We also have people who are influencers. I know this word has kind of become popular with social media influencers. It basically means the same thing. You are influencing people to buy something even though you aren't making the purchase. And then we have a decision maker, and that's the person who gives the approval to put the funds towards the purchase. Okay, so you might have an adult who sends 2 kids shopping. The adult is the decision maker, and they say, "Hey, I need you to go and buy these things." Okay, when you get in line, the little kid of the group starts saying, "Hey, I want this candy, I want this candy, I want this candy." And the buyer in that situation actually will swipe the credit card and give the candy so that the kid is quiet. So those are the 3 types of things that can happen. We need to know what types of buyers we have. Clearly McDonald's, again, was awesome with this as far as figuring out that kids are big influencers in the purchase of dinner time food. So when they were begging for McDonald's, the decision makers and the buyers tend to go with that decision, which made the Ronald McDonald campaign so successful. All right, that's it for today. Nice and quick. Again, this was market segmentation. In market segmentation, we talked about the ways that we segment the markets. Okay, we talked about the different approaches companies have, whether they're doing concentrated marketing or multi-segment marketing. And then at the end here, we talked about some different buyers, influencers, and decision makers. And knowing all this information just helps us sell more product or make our product very specific towards a group of people.